I think my job, whether it be executive coaching, leadership coaching, working with a small business or working with teams, is to create space. I often think of myself as I'm a warrior fighting for space. And the space is for the executive, the leader, the president, the CEO, whatever it is, to be able to get outside of whatever they're in. So here's a way to think about it is most people have their business or their situation, and it's like, imagine like it's the room that you're in or I'm in. And what most people are doing is they're just like moving the furniture around the room, trying to like have it fit different or better. And I see my role is to actually create a space outside of the room that they get to step into and create something fully new. Sometimes that's done through different perspectives. Sometimes it's done through like challenging beliefs. Sometimes it's done through like inquiry, but question asking and whatnot. That to me is the fun, is like, how do I get to create the space for them or hold the space?
That resonates with me so much from what I know about you. And I can definitely see that and the need for it. I mean, I'm even thinking with one of my VIP clients this week and the conversation that I was having with him, and he's built, multiple 7-8 figure businesses, but it's really that what you just said is actually what he was asking for.
Space. We have this, that's funny that this is coming up. I was talking to somebody today about this idea that we're afraid to take up space. I know this is like very common for women, right? Like be small, don't take up space, right? We call women all sorts of words when they're too loud or too big. And the misconception that I think people have is space is infinite. There's no scarcity of space. Now, if you take up space from your heart, from your essence, from your purpose, from your passion, what you actually do is create more space for others. You don't only give other people permission to do it themselves, but in whatever you're creating opportunities for other people to step in and take up space. When you were doing it from ego or fear, what I think we're actually doing is it's not that we can take up space that people can't have, but we're like crowding the space. We're like messing with other people's space. So it still exists, it's still there, but we're kind of like shadowing it, getting in the way of it. And I think, I think just through history and time, because of obsession with money and obsession with materialism and things, we've learned to take up space from the shadow side and not as much from the light side.
Yeah. And what I'm thinking is, for those of us that are intuitive and in touch, when you're attempting to share space with someone, it feels totally different. Like when I'm sharing space, so to speak, with someone who's coming from the ego or the shadow place, it feels like it's intruding. It feels like it's taking. It feels like there might not be space for me. Whereas when I'm in what Gary deems authentic power or spiritual partnership, and I'm around someone who's taking up space from a really authentic, loving intention, not from ego, then it literally expands the space in the room, and it inspires me and gives me permission to go do my own version of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for leaders and executives, this is where I see a big gap, because there's a lot of people calling themselves coaches or consultants that work with leaders, and all they're doing is giving a 10-step plan, or here's my formula for success, which may work. But what it's also doing is it's getting it all over you, right? It's like, my way works, right? That's an ego. So even if it has worked, it actually dims the light of the other person. It dims the possibility, because it's like, imagine if whoever the first successful person in business was, right? Like the Henry Fords kind of the world. If we all just copied that, we'd all be driving the exact same car that looked exactly right. Everything would just be copy and pasted. We'd live in the most boring world ever.